Alright, Lewis, how you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, man. Well, thank you very much for joining us, man. We appreciate it. Let's just turn it up slightly. There we go, smashing. Now, guys, here he is. He has one of our own, and he's on the OnlyAccies podcast. Lewis, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm really good. How are you doing?
Not bad, man. Not bad at all. I guess we just jump straight into it, don't we?
Sure, go for it.
Obviously, Hamilton fan from a boy, season ticket holder from 4 years old. Is that right?
Well, as soon as I could go to games, yeah, I had a season ticket, so I guess around then, yeah.
What was your first memory of Hamilton? What's your first recollection of the club?
It's a weird one, like your first game, but because how do you remember them? There probably was ones before this, but the one I always say is the Forfar one. Do you remember? I don't know if you were there. You probably were. But when they got promoted to the
of course, yeah.
Division, I think I was 4 years old then, so my dad took me with all my cousins, so my full family were there, and then I just remember obviously everyone ran on the pitch at the end. It was just a brilliant day. It was really sunny, if I remember correctly. It was just a really good game. I don't remember much of the game, to be honest. Being 4 years old, it was all standing as well there, wasn't it? So
it was, aye.
I probably couldn't even see a thing, but I remember the after bit, and I've obviously got all the photos of us on the pitch. I remember my mum's a bit raging with my dad after the game because she couldn't believe he took his on. It's one of the things as a Hamilton fan, like those kind of moments you have to do it. I remember my wee brother was actually just born. He was like a few months old, and he didn't go to the game, but he had that on his wee Accies hat and stuff like that. So it was a really good day out for the full family. It was brilliant. He was probably felt the same.
Absolutely, man. And obviously, watching that team growing up, was there a player that stood out to you? Did you have an Accies hero at that time?
There was a few when I was really young before I started playing for Ireland, like Richard Orfield was bagging goals all the time when I was like just getting like really into it, and then obviously when I just signed as a 10-year-old, James McCarthy was just started to play and stuff like that. So all of them were really favourites of mine. Then obviously getting older into my teens, so it was Tony Andrew and people like that who were just it was brilliant to watch, and the heroes Jason Scott, which is weird for both of them because obviously Tony I played with him, and then Jason was my coach for a few years as well, so it was really those were really good.
Right, so what was that like then? Obviously growing up watching them and idolising them, then actually being involved with them and actually working with them.
It was mental. The first few times you see them, it's just like it's mental. You kind of don't know what to do yourself. The more you get to know them, you see they're great guys, both like Jason and Tony were both really good guys. So so down to earth, and it was brilliant to be able to work alongside both of them, and it was really good. It was actually quite funny when Tony first came, because a few of the boys obviously knew I was an Accies fan. They were just winding me up. The boys have a wee wind up sometimes, but it's so good fun, and it's because I'm the only one. It's just like they just do it. But it's funny. Floyd was always good about it. He didn't mind. So.
And obviously, when you were joining the club, you said that. Sorry, David, on you go.
Sorry, man. Is there a player who you think that when you were growing up supporting Accies has affected maybe the way you play, or you maybe take that on board? Because the only one, I don't want to compare players in case you take it as a double insult, but I see a bit of Mark Taldini in you, from when we were growing up. He's also a bit older than the other two boys. Because as an Accies fan, we've not really had many players like you over the years. It's not the kind of football we play. Is there anyone you think that you've seen over the years that you've kind of taken bits on in your game?
I'm not sure that in terms of technical ability, I'd always like to be not claiming that I'm as technically good as Ali Crawford and people like that. He was always just an absolute. Watching him was brilliant, just his vision and stuff like that. But I'm not sure. Boogie was obviously in my position as well, and he was my coach as well under 17. So taking a lot from him as well, running in behind and stuff like that. Cause he was always good at those sort of things, stuff like that. I need to bring more into, still do. I need to bring one to my game, trying to get into spaces to shoot, because he's obviously that's one of the things he's really good at. So yeah, that's good.
And what is Dougie like off the pitch? Because we all know on the pitch he's a bit of a nutter. Is he the same off the pitch and in training when he was coaching you?
Coaching, he's definitely good. He was a really good coach. I think his first year at under-17s was my age group, so that was interesting because we loved him, to be honest. He was a really good coach, and obviously he was with Big Gio at the time as well, so Gio helped a lot, and I think he's got better as a coach, and then the training, to be fair, he is a bit like he is in the pitch. He doesn't take any prisoners. He was a wee bit kinder to me, I think, because I was his player as well, so he didn't quite shout at me as much as some other boys, but yeah, he was a person like on the pitch to off it, and even as a coach, as I say.
And when you made that step to sign your professional contract, we read obviously one of your family members wrote a brilliant article about obviously growing up and taking you across Scotland and playing all these games, and they said that you come to a point where you had that choice of becoming a professional footballer, obviously staying in high school and doing your education. How difficult was that choice for you to make that leap?
Yeah, so I got offered the full-time contract just after my 4th year exam, so obviously I think my mum was basically she was the one that wrote the article. She wasn't having it, to be honest.
No?
She still laughs about it. She was, because we had a meeting and my mum was just like, he can't leave before he does his hires. But to be fair to Gio and the whole club, they were really good, and I signed full time, but I still went to school a few days a week, so it worked brilliantly. I was able to go to school, and then by the time at the end of 5th year, I was basically just choking to leave, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm ready to, but I got some hires, so I knew if in a few years it wasn't working out, then I'd always be able to, maybe go to uni or use those hires for something, but I don't know if actually so far I'm sorry, but
I think it'll be fine. By the looks of it, mate, I think it'll be fine.
To be fair, I do a wee open uni course as well, so
nice.
So I do that, and also it's I wouldn't say it was difficult, but to be honest, because I don't know, I've always wanted to be a footballer, so I had to regret it for the rest of my life. I never tried as hard as I could to do it. So
what's your university course on?
It's history. I've just always liked it from school.
So
just thought it'd be most interesting. So I'm in my 2nd year now.
Smashing, man, smashing. And obviously when you're making that move into the first team, did any first team players come and take you aside, when you're first coming up from the academy, and let you know how it's going to be, or talk you through anything?
It's a bit different because there's obviously 2 change rooms, but it's still really close. And then you're kind of like, you're not just, one day someone might go down injured, and then you're thrown into it, and then you train once, and then you won't train again for a few weeks. So it's kind of weird, and then gradually you just become a regular, and then but they're all, you see them all the time, so it's not like they talk to you and say alright to you, and they know your name, so it's like everyone's really, really good.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anyone in particular, to be honest, but everyone's just really good, and they know how important the youth setup is to the club, so they don't see you as the wee kids, to be honest. They see you as someone that's going to make that step up eventually, even if it takes a wee bit of time.
And obviously that having the club so close then, like you said, everybody knowing each other, I'm assuming that makes that jump so much smoother, because you're not going from, say, academy training to first team training. It all seems kind of in the one.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there'll be days that, like, there'll be weeks that you're training 4 or 5 times with them, and it's a lot harder, obviously, but it just gets you used to what it's like, and then so when you're training full time with them, it doesn't seem that big a gap. And the coaches are all the same. The gaffer, obviously at first when I started, it was Martin Gannon, but like he'll come and watch my games when I'm playing like under 17s and stuff like that. So he knows who you are, and obviously Brian Rice does the gaffer, and obviously does the exact same. So like they watch it. I think he even goes to somebody even younger than that. So they're so involved in it that you know these people, and you know that even if you make a few mistakes, as long as you're working hard, you'll still get another chance and stuff like that.
And do they come? You say they come and watch the games. Do they come and speak to the boys after the game, or in the changing room? Do they come and give you any pointers, or do they just kind of watch, go back, and then speak to you privately?
It depends. Sometimes they'll speak to you as a group, and then just a few words. They let the coaches do their bit, because obviously it's their team, and then they'll just say a few things at the end if they've got anything to add. And sometimes they're just there observing, but even if just knowing they're theirs, it's just a big thing. So obviously you try your best anyway, but to know that what you could do could influence yourself, your career potentially, just makes you get extra incentive, you know.
And having talked about Martin Cannon there, I won't mention him much for Brandon, but given given that he was obviously a former player for Hamilton and all that as well, did that help kind of having him in and around you when you were early on?
Yeah, so he was I think he was the 17th scaffold, but not when I was there, so I didn't know him pretty well. It was maybe like a couple of the older boys that were still young, but he was, I can't have anything bad to say about him. He was giving my debut, and he was great to me as well. He's a really nice guy, and he was really good to me. He was the one that got me training basically every day with them. So, and he would always speak to you and basically say that you'll get a chance if you're still playing as well as I have been.
And when you were coming into that first team, do you feel that as an academy product, there's maybe more pressure on you than, say, players that were brought into the club because you're coming through the academy?
A wee bit of pressure, but I think we put the pressure on ourselves a wee bit because we know that, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it, but like,
what I was going to say is because
it's our team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actors are renowned for obviously giving the kids a chance, and you that sort of weight on your shoulders of the fact that if you make it here and you show, that is possibly set you up for the rest of your life, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, so it is a bit of pressure, but at the same time, it's a lot of like, they have a lot of faith in you, so they're not. It's not like some bad pressure. The pressure makes you excel to a point because you know, if you do well, as you said, you could move on, and they won't have any problem with that. And you know, if you're doing well in training and stuff, then you'll get your chance. It doesn't matter how young you are or whatever. So there is pressure, but there's kind of pressure everywhere whenever you try and play. So.
And you mentioned.
Sorry, man. I think as fans, I mean, probably for me, but I don't want to talk for myself, but I think I definitely put pressure more on the younger players than maybe any signings that we have. I mean, every podcast we talk about signings or
David. Sorry, technical difficulties. Anyway, obviously before your debut, talked about Martin Cannon giving your debut there. Are you taking a side at all, like in training midweek, and said, "Listen, you know, you're in the squad this week, kind of knuckle down," or are you just finding it along with everybody else, and then it comes as a total shock?
So I've been in the squad for a good few weeks, like prior to that, so I felt like I was getting not frustrated because I was obviously wasn't to be there. I was just like itching to get.
Yeah, you want your chance. Yeah, absolutely.
Just the first time, and then so it wasn't like one of these ones. Sorry, I just keep falling.
No, that's alright.
It wasn't one of the ones he told me before the game. He just kind of, to be honest, as bad as it sounds, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best.
No.
We got beat 3-0.
Yeah.
I came on when we were 3-0 down, so it was like it was weird because I was buzzing.
Yeah.
We'd just be beat 3-0, so I not really sure it, but I wasn't as happy as I probably should have been that day. But you know, like it's out when you're out there with the fans and stuff like that. Apologies, obviously, it was a big crowd and stuff like that. So it was like, it just makes you want to do it again. To be honest, as soon as I was off, I was just like, oh, this is what I want to be playing every week.
I've spoke to a former player, and what he told me was after your debut, you came back in the change room and burst out crying.
Throwing him under the bus here, man.
I didn't think he was there. Was that? I can't mind. I don't think he was there the year I made my debut.
Oh
no, he was. He was actually. No, he was. But honestly, that's a load of rubbish. All of that. I think I had to be fair.
a couple of games after it as well.
I know, it wasn't the best day. I think I was all twice, and one was a tackle or something. So, it wasn't the best day of my life. It was honestly it was still amazing.
Yeah. But see when you get that call, see when you sit on the bench, you get that call up. Were you able to focus at all? You know, were you obviously you were getting instructions, but were you even able to take that in, or were you just kind of in that moment of Jesus Christ, here I come, this is me?
I know at first, not really. You're right. It's like I know it's hard to focus, like because you're obviously warming up, and you just shout, you have to run down and hold that wee run down. It's just like, oh, this is it, and then trying to give you like the set pieces and stuff like that. And all I'm thinking is I'm actually coming on here,
yeah,
a chance and stuff. So obviously, try to listen to people to make a fool of yourself, but yeah, it is difficult, especially the first time. To be honest, coming on as a sub is a bit like I don't know, your heart's racing a wee bit more than if when you're starting anyway. You don't want to be up to match,
yeah,
like quickly because it's quite difficult sometimes. So coming on as sub's a bit different anyway. But yeah, the first time was nothing like any other time, to be honest.
and obviously you got your first senior goal in the Betfred Cup. Can you describe that feeling? Is there words to describe that, scoring your first professional goal?
Nah, honestly, it was fun. I was just brilliant. I was buzzing. The game, I remember during the game, I was just getting so annoyed because I missed a few chances before that. I think I nearly hit the post, and then we saved one. I was just like, God, see, this is not.
It's not happened.
For me. And then when it finally happened, it was just some moment in my full family was there, and it was brilliant to be able to share it with them because they were all so happy for me, and it was just really nice to see them.
Yeah.
They were so happy for me, and everyone, the full team was, to be honest, I remember Daz McKenna was just like hugging me and all that, and it was just like everyone was just so happy for me, and I was just, I don't know, just amazing, to be honest. And then it's hard to settle down after it, but you just need to try and do the best you can.
I remember the game well. Up at Ocklefield it's called?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I remember it well, and I remember when you came on and you started, and you obviously had these chances, and we were thinking to ourselves, we've got a player here, because we obviously knew you were an Accies fan, and we've never, in my lifetime, I've never known a player for Accies to be an actual fan, so I think it was a new thing for a lot of people, and to see that sort of ability straight away, it was obviously exciting us quite a lot, and I think you've just, with how you've been playing, I think it set the standard for then on, to be honest with you.
Thank you. I know it was. I don't know, that first game. It was one of my better ones. I've had a few not so good ones. But, that one was one of my better ones, and I know I was just so over the moon, to be honest with you. I had a few sniffs at the end of the season before, but it wasn't anything the same. So.
And coming into this, last season, obviously you played a big part. That was your first kind of season, really consistently in the team. Before that season, the summer leading up, were you kind of taken aside and kind of told, listen, this is your season, we're going to play this season, or same as before, just training like normal, and then find yourself in the squad week after week?
Well, the gaffer was brilliant with me. So at the end of the season, before I made my first starts and stuff, he was just said, obviously we're all going to win holiday, and he just took me into his office. He was like, you're going to be a big part of next season if you come back as fit as you can possibly be, and you used to do well in pre-season, and you're just, I don't know, showing and training, then you'll play, as simple as that. And that was brilliant for me because, I don't know, it just gave me so much motivation over that summer to be as fit as I could, so I could mix it with the older boys and the first team boys. And then obviously I came back, and I think the first game was the bit I did well pre-season, and the first game was against Queen's Park in the cup. I didn't play as bad as it sounds. It probably helped me because the next game, I don't know if I would have started that Clyde. I don't know what he was thinking, but I don't know if I would have started that Clyde game if we'd have won that. So after that game, he really just said to me, "You're playing on Wednesday." That was it, wasn't he? Like that was quite good. He told me a couple of days in advance, so I had that initial excitement, and then I could calm down and think about it and actually know like what I was going to do and stuff.
And obviously, dream start to the league, let's be honest. At home, you score your debut goal. In the league, and I remember I was in the stand with Marcus actually, and I want to say full stadium, as full as we can get, and I remember specifically at that moment, just you cut inside. I don't need to explain your own goal team. Just you cut inside. About 6 people stood up around me and all went, "Hit it, Smithy!" It was exact. I was the same man, and we erupted. Honestly, what was that like at home? Home crowd. In the league. What is that? What is that feeling like?
It was just like nothing I never dreamt of. Obviously, you always think your first game, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Like you're never going to think you're going to have a bad game. You're always thinking the night before, oh, I'm going to score a goal and play amazing. But to actually score the goal was just a great feeling. And I started the game all right, and I thought I was doing well, and then the ball just fell to me. And I was obviously shot, and then I obviously knew where my family was sitting in the stand as well, so I was able to look at. They sat the same place for about 10 years. So, I was able to sort of like give my wee wave and all that, and I could just see how happy they were again. And yeah, again, as I said in the Clyde one, it's hard to calm down your emotions after that. And thankfully, I did it, and I had a pretty good game the rest of it as well. So.
And that's that second goal. Are you claiming that? Are you claiming that?
Because see the shot was it wasn't a good shot.
It was a P roller.
In fact, I say shot was past there. It's but George claims he touched it. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. It didn't look like it. Because you probably remember I celebrated as if it was my
yep.
So I was just when I heard it, I can't believe that's gone in. And then obviously I was speaking to George when we were walking back to Harvey, and he said he touched it. So at the end of the day, I was happy with one goal now lined.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. We've won the game, and that's what's most important. So yeah.
Absolutely, and obviously that's last season was a bit hectic, let's be honest, with everything that went on, but there were some great games in that. Obviously there's Hearts 2 each twice. We'll talk about Rangers away, and obviously the derby. I want to mention just Hearts briefly. It seemed, because of the league positions that year, there just seemed to be a kind of weird rivalry between the two clubs that hadn't been there in previous seasons because of that. Did you guys feel that on the pitch? Because I certainly felt it in the stand.
Not so much the first game. The first game was weird because we obviously, I don't know how over the years haven't been that great going into Newcastle, and then it's a hard place to go. And we thought we played really well, and maybe could have won the game in the first game 2-1. And then I remember just after the game we were happy with a point. Do you know what I mean? But as much as we thought we could have won the game, we were like, a point, that's a good result. Like going to Newcastle, but then later on in the year, as Finn's developed, we need 3 points against them. We needed the other games. We needed to win. And then the second one, I came on as a sub, and that was the only one we won. And I felt like that was a big kind of turning point, because it just gave us that belief. And that was just before New Year as well, just before the Muller one. So that gave us belief going into that one. So it was a big one. Then against Hearts the third time, we should have won that game. Honestly, we should have won that one. So they 3 games, they were really important. So, and they were good games as well, actually.
Yeah, they were really, really great to watch.
One thing I want to ask before we go into the other games is, obviously Aki's made it well known, and rightly so, about you getting the call up to the Scotland 21s. What type of feeling was that for you and your family? Because obviously, for any Aki's player to get any sort of national call up, it's big news for the fans. But obviously, you got under 21, and I think you were the first person since obviously your likes of your Fergusons and Brokies. So, what type of feeling was that for you?
Yeah, no, it's just amazing. As much as I've been a Hamilton fan over the years, I've been a Scotland fan as well. So went to the games when I was younger as well. So it was just that brilliant feeling. I was quite early. Because it was literally I'd only played that Kelly game. I think it was the first one. So I was a wee bit surprised, but I know obviously the gap on the Scott game. I was he was my coach at under 17s as well, so he knows me well and obviously knows what I can do. So maybe maybe he had a bit of belief in me, and then obviously over the season I was playing more anyway, so I kept getting it, and to make my debut for it against the San Marino, it was just a brilliant feeling for me, and hopefully I can play it again more in the future. I was disappointed only to play once more than I might have thought at some point, so it's still great.
Were you aware that quite a few Hamilton fans came to watch? Were you aware that we were present?
I wouldn't no one actually told me, but after the game, obviously Marcus was there and that, so he said that there was a good few. Obviously, Battle Family were there as well, so you kept them then. So they were, and I think there was a couple I saw, I can't remember, but it's brilliant that you came, to be fair. It's such a nice feeling to be like, I don't know, you just really appreciated in that, so that's really nice.
I dragged my girlfriend along, and she's not a football fan at all, by the way, and I kept saying, we're here to see Lewis, we want Lewis Smith to make his debut, blah blah blah. And then obviously when you came on, you came over the tannoy, they all come, Lewis Smith. My girlfriend was like, that, it's him, it's happening. I was like, I know, this is it.
The game wasn't great, was it? Something?
No, mate, she was raging, by the way. So I dragged her, it was St Mirren, and I dragged her there, we're sitting in the freezing cold, and nothing's open, like no food or anything's open, so we're all sitting freezing. And she's sitting there going, I cannot believe you've... And she was like, if you've dragged me all the way here for him not to come on, this is a whole other argument. But he did. And obviously, to go back, we mentioned a few times that Fir Park game, that game at Motherwell. Wow. I remember I was at work and they were like, overstaffed, need somebody to go early. I was like, I don't care what MD says, I'm away, because I was going to miss the game. I was like, I'm away, I'm coming down, and thank God I did, because going into that game as a Hamilton fan, do you think that you as a player, it maybe has more of an effect on you? Do you think maybe there's more excitement in you than there would be other players?
Yeah, I didn't play that game. You know that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was in the stand, and it was I don't know, because the first game we played against them, we got beat, and it was pretty convincingly from their point of view. And for us, it was just the last 30 minutes, we were down to 10 men, we were 3-1 down. It was just kind of like, and their fans were just, it was party time for them. It was just sickening, really. It was so bad just being on the pitch, and they were all so happy. It was just brutal, to be honest. And then, so even to watch the game in the New Year's, it was from the stand, it was brilliant. And it was when the second goal went in, there was a few of us there, just me, guys, a couple of other injured boys, and everyone just went mental, honestly. It was the same, but it was brilliant watching you all with their mental that performance. we had a really jumping about as well, up and on a bit, so it was really good to just be involved in. And then that was obviously the first time just there last week that I've been involved in a winning room. So for me, that personally, that was amazing. But
what does that actually feel like? Obviously, as a fan, the sort of rivalry with Motherwell is quite intense. But see, for actually a fan playing it, how does that feel?
It's brilliant. I don't really know many Motherwell fans. You probably know a lot, but I don't really know any. So it's maybe not quite as personal as it is. But I do know a few of the boys because they play for Scotland, and that. So from that point of view, that's always like they're nice boys, but it just goes out the window on the game day. And it's good. I don't know. It's just weird because my mum and dad and that are just, they want you to win so much. Like, they want you to win, but it's just you get so much more obvious in those days that they just want you to put one over them. And for me, it's just you kind of need to forget about it a wee bit, but kind of it's weird because you need to up your game because the stakes are higher for the fans, but at the same time you need to control your emotions because there's no point you just getting sent off.
Do you ever speak to the other boys when it comes to like the derby game? Because obviously there will be ones like some of the foreign boys and that they might not understand it, but do they understand it better having you there?
I think it's quite clear in the lead up to the gaffer and his team talks will emphasise that it's a derby, just like get you going a wee bit. So everyone knows it's not, and they know how much it means to the fans as well. You know, like from our point of view, winning the game, if it was as much for the fans as it is for us. So I think everyone knows it's not. It's pretty obvious, to be honest.
And another huge, obviously, fixture that happened last season was obviously Rangers away, which was brilliant. Let's be totally honest. Brian Rice said before his interview, he says this a fair amount, is the only people who believe Hamilton can win these games is him and his players. How does he instill that kind of confidence in you before they run up to playing the Old Firm or playing a Motherwell? How does he do it? Is it just through his team talks?
It's an everyday thing with the gaffer. That's the good thing. The gaffer he has so much faith in us, and sometimes it'll be a bit of pressure because he says basically he expects us to win. Like before a game, he says I expect you to win this game.
Yeah.
Basically every game. So it's like you're kind of like, oh, but at the same time, it's good. It's good that he has that much faith in you. And the Old Firm games, it's like we're not stupid. Like we know that it's going to be a shift, but
yeah,
I know sometimes we step up when we're playing them. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's that kind of no fear aspect. The gaffer always he's the same, like no fear. You always go for it. That game at Ibrox we played to the top, which not many teams would do at all. Going to Ibrox and the Watfords and that day, so I think the no fear kind of thing paid off that.
And when you come in at half time, obviously it's 0-0. What does he say to you? Is he saying, same again? Is he asking you to be maybe more expressive, create more chances? What is he saying to you at half time in there?
So before the game, he's like, if you get to half time at 0-0, you'll get something before the game. That's what you'll get something from the game.
Yeah.
The crowd will get on their back and your confidence will rise and stuff like that. And to be fair, he was absolutely right. He said at half time, get through the next 15 minutes and you just can win the game. And as long as we don't concede, because after half time it's pretty crucial. So
yeah,
and obviously we did that, and we've obviously grabbed the famous goal. So that was we were just able to hold out. I don't know, it was just a weird day because they had chances, didn't they? But I just didn't feel like they were going to score. It was just
look, Southwood was a wall in that goal, by the way.
It was a joke that day, and everyone played good. But it was just one of those big, great team efforts. That defensively we were good. Obviously, when the defence wasn't there, Luke was pulling off saves, and when we got the chance, we obviously tucked it away. And I think it was just a brilliant night for everyone. It was one of my best nights of my life ever. So it was amazing, and my family obviously there again, right in the front row. So brilliant for everyone involved in it. To be honest, I was so happy. And
obviously that goal goes in. We see you, Moyo, Gogic, all run straight into that corner. He said it's one of your favourite memories, and even though you didn't score the goal, you must be thinking this is incredible because it was sold out Rangers and all that,
Yeah, it was honestly incredible. Yeah, because I crossed it for Mario just before it.
Yeah.
And he got the head on it, and I was oh no, that's it. That was our big chance, and we've missed it. And then it was like 5 seconds later, wasn't it? So it was just like just incredible, and we all went mental. Didn't we? That walk back from celebrating to the halfway line, which is the worst, where you just need to like calm everything down and you get the older ones that are speaking to you and just saying relax, keep it. We've not done anything yet.
Yeah.
Just had one goal with 20 minutes to go, whatever. It's not nothing. So just keep it calm, and we can maybe create something there.
I just don't know how that feeling would be, because I never thought in my life that I'd experience Accies going to Ibrox or Park to win a game, but to be involved in that, it just must be surreal, especially being a fan.
So surreal. It was just even Ibrox and stuff like that for Harlan it was amazing for me, and then to win was just something I'd never even considered, to be honest, growing up, but it was just unbelievable.
And when that final whistle blows, you've got the win. What are the celebrations like? You guys must have been going mental.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was mental, but it was also there was a wee bit of relief as well, because we'd just gone bottom of the table, so it was a mixture of relief just overwhelmed and just mental. But at the same time, it was like you say about celebrations and that we couldn't properly celebrate because we had a game on Saturday, so we were in on Thursday morning. Like, it was,
were you?
It was
That's brutal.
So we only had the Thursday and the Friday, so I think we were in a bit later, so we got a wee bit of a lie in, but it wasn't like we were going out or whatever. It wasn't. It was so it was in the change room. It was amazing, and then the bus journey back was I could laugh, and then as soon as we got in the Thursday, it was just kind of like that's it. It was brilliant, but that's it done.
Yeah,
so we'll always remember, but we need to for right now forget about it, kind of.
Aye, and obviously that led on brilliant. Obviously, Kelly at home. Late penalty, let's be honest, not the greatest penalty.
Oh, I thought you were going to say not the greatest game. I didn't think I personally had a good game that day, but I know, and then we got at 10 men, it was more just a gritty performance, wasn't it?
Aye.
Looking back, it's so important now, and it's weird to think. At the time, obviously it was important, but at the time you're thinking we still got a good wee bit left.
Yeah.
But it was turned out to be absolutely vital. So.
And obviously, that game obviously was the last game of our season. When that happened and the league's kind of shut down, and we've spoke to Scott McMahon, we spoke to Scott right at the start of lockdown, and he was telling us about you were all given personal training regimes, and obviously told to keep fit. Are you guys being told then there's a good chance the season's starting again, keep ticking over, and then we'll be back straight away?
Yeah, basically we thought it was gonna start back pretty soon. Like there was no way we could have imagined what had happened in the end. But it gave us the programs and stuff, but it was hard because it was just so boring. Like everyone probably found lockdown the same, like boring wise, but like just the running and the constant running and stuff like that. Because obviously at first, like usually when you go away, you can have like a week or two that you're not doing it, you're just kind of relaxing, and then you get back into it. But because we thought we were going back, it wasn't really any of that. We were just running by ourselves for a few weeks, and then obviously it became clear that it wasn't going to go away. And they sent us a text when the season got called saying, like, just relax for a couple of weeks. Not that we could go anywhere, but just relax for a couple of weeks. And then they sent us more stuff out, and everyone actually came back better than most years, just because I think people were bored, so they were doing it more and people weren't going out, and people went away on holiday, so people were pretty fit.
I'm told to ask if you started up tennis during lockdown with the haircut came back with.
Oh, the haircut! Oh my god! I didn't even think about it. Like I was saying, because obviously we thought it wasn't going to be that long, so I was just like, I'll just leave it, and I didn't really think about it. And then by the time it became clear, I just should have got a ball day at the start. And back to normal by the end of it, but I didn't think, and then I just thought it would be funny if I just leave it, and then obviously it came back and people were posting photos and used a lot of slaughtering me. I was kind of like, the more you slaughtered me, I was kind of like,
you liked it?
I just want to keep it. Up your butt. But eventually there came a time that I knew I had to get rid of it. It was getting on my nerve. It was the sides more than anything, because the sides were more than the top end, and I was just like, this is beyond. I've actually kept the top a wee bit longer still, but the sides were ridiculous, and it was getting in my eyes, and my missus said she liked it, but she definitely didn't.
And obviously when and obviously when all that's happening, we spoke to Scott, like I said, right at the start of lockdown. He said that he would obviously prefer to play the games. When they're told the season's finished and it's more than likely that we're staying up, are you all kind of relieved, or are we all kind of a bit like, I really wanted to play those kind of last games and do it properly,
It's a bit of both, because like the games when you're at the bottom, they are a bit stressful.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much it means, not just to yourselves but to everyone surrounding the club. So not having to play those games was a wee bit of a relief, but at the same time you wanted to prove that we're good enough to stay in this league no matter how the situation ended. And obviously the tables showed that we were not the worst team. We didn't feel like we were the second worst team, and we just felt that we had a good wee bit of form. and that we could have potentially gone higher up in the table. We played Ross. We were going to play Ross County that week, and I think if we won that, we'd gone up to like 9th or something like that.
Yeah.
So, like, we felt that we were a bit disappointed that we couldn't show what we had for the last few games of the season. But as you said, staying up.
That's the goal.
Was the main goal. So we accomplished that. It didn't really matter how we did it.
And obviously, coming into this new season, this is us. Not been the greatest to start, let's be totally honest. Decent performances, but it's just not been able to click in that kind of final third. But it has now. That must have been the perfect way to kind of properly kickstart the season, get your first points on the board.
Yeah, definitely. It's been frustrating. Over in pre-season, we thought we played good games.
Yeah.
Pretty much every one of our pre-season games. That's what made it even more frustrating. That the first few games we didn't feel like we were ourselves. The second half against St Mirren was a lot better. We had a lot more chances, and we felt we should have taken something from the game. And we just sort of took that into the Motherwell game. Although, actually, to be fair, the first half against Motherwell we didn't really have a great game either. But the last 20 minutes, I think, showed what we could do. I think we judged on that last 20 minutes alone, we deserved to the game, to be honest. It's just we had a few really good chances right before we go, and then I was so happy. Thanks, he played brilliantly, and he just missed the one before, obviously, which he was absolutely devastated about. You probably saw him lying in the pitch.
Aye.
We felt so bad for him, and we were just buzzing for him to get the goal because he deserves it.
Absolutely, and obviously playing in new boys coming into the teams. Now you mentioned one there, Hakeem. You've got Lee Hodson, Callum Smith, etc. How are they all fitting in? They all fit in well.
Yeah, they've all been brilliant. They've all bought into the kind of ethic we have at the club, like the hard work, and there's no like individuals. It's a team, and yeah, I can't really fault any of them. To be honest, they're all great guys, and training every day. They're working hard, just like the rest of us. They're not. None of them are like big headed.
Yeah.
So they're all really good guys, and Hakeem and Lee and Ross have obviously played last few games. Cal Smith came on the weekend, obviously, and had a really good game. So yeah, I think there's more to come from all of them, and hopefully they keep playing well.
And can I ask, this is one of the fan questions, but I feel like I have to ask. Obviously, Adam McGowan's left. Who's taken over the dressing room DJ?
Oh, definitely. Probably Sean. Before the games, it's Sean. He always puts on the GBX from kind of things before the game to get so.
And does that go down well?
Yeah, there's a few of us that talk like Scott McMahon doesn't like it. He always says he wants a more chilled vibe before the game, but he gets shut down pretty much. Even though he's been the captain the last few games, he's been said that. So yeah, it's Sean basically. He puts him on, and everyone's pretty happy with him.
On back on AJ made the point to say that he's still waiting on you passing him for the overlap.
We had a wee joke going because he said that after every game, still waiting on you because I don't know, maybe I'm a bit greedy. I just go inside and ignore him basically, but he's the decoy. That's what I always say to him. I'm a decoy, and then AJ's great, but I really enjoyed playing with him last year, and he helped me a lot because he was a lot more experienced than me just defensively. I feel like my game came on so much that year, so it was quite a lot. But it was down to him just talking. AJ talks a lot, and he but it helped me play the game because I'm quieter on the pitch a lot. Well, and in the change room, to be fair. So having him who was a loud talker was helpful for me.
Another question we need to ask you as well, from last year, is the WhatsApp group name changed?
It's got to.
It's not.
Oh man, you need to get in there and sort that, by the way.
The 1920s just changed to 2021.
That's shocking, by the way.
I don't know, you got any recommendations?
That should be something. Mark, you should say that to Marcus. Start a petition on the Twitter. Rename the WhatsApp group, man, because it's boring. You can't have that. It needs to be more exciting.
Everyone knows it. You know what you're going to get there.
Well, if that's what you get, you've got to do it. So
It's true. Who's the biggest talker in the chat? Who's the one that chats the most?
To be honest, the chat isn't buzzing. Like it's not a lot. I don't know. It's mostly just normal stuff. Not last year. There was quite a lot last year. Daz used to always chat in it, and so did George Oakley and stuff like that. But now it's quite quiet. Maybe it's things everyone gets close.
Aye.
To be honest, it's not as exciting as you may think. There's not any I don't know big stories going on in it like that. Like, but it's not amazing. It's not like.
And that brings us quite nicely on. We'll get loads of fan questions we asked online for fans to ask you questions. So these are a few of them. Before the season, do you set yourself a tally, a goals tally, an assist tally, any personal goals for the season?
Not specifically, just to better myself from last year. I didn't get as many goals or assists as I would have liked, to be honest. I thought I could have got more, so just to better myself and hope that I can do that, yeah. So.
Well, I've got you in my fantasy team, so...
So have I.
Oh no, that must have been actually bombing you so far.
I actually made you vice captain against St Mum because I had that incline, but
that was not my best game, that one, so...
I was raging. I took Hakeem out of mine just before the derby.
Oh no.
I was raging, by the way.
He was a top performer over the full hang and all.
He was. He was unreal that game, man. He was unreal. Another one of the questions is best academy player who never quite made it at Hamilton. So who impressed you through the academy but just never maybe got their chance?
The one at my age group was always Stephen Connolly. I don't know if you've
played with him before. I've actually played with him. That just shows you.
every age group from about under 10s to we went full time, it was the best by far. It wasn't even a question. Then me and him went full time at the same time, and I don't know, it just never really happened. But then when we went full time, I don't know, just saw
when he's playing amateur, he's different, fast, different gravy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I remember when growing up in the youth, how every time you'd look at the 17 results, and that's the first time you'd seen the sheet out all the time. Stefan Conley, goals for fun.
Because Celtic wanted him when he was jump, but he wanted to stay at Hamilton, and he was everyone when he was a great player for us, and he was a leader as well. He was our captain most age groups as well. So, but yeah, I think he really at the end, I think he was enjoying it. So.
That's what happens. Another one, somebody's asked, do you have a dream former Hamilton player that you wish you could have played alongside? I suppose you kind of did, didn't you, with Tony Andrew and people like that?
If you told me when I was watching Tony and that, I would, I never, and same with Ali, I played with him a couple of times in like reserve games and that as well. I don't know, maybe just going right back to like the James McCarthy's and stuff like that would be weird. Actually, when you say James McCarthy and Brian Easton was another one, it's just so weird that.
That's true, yeah.
Young guy as well. I used to watch him all the time, and obviously he's our captain now. But I'd probably just be born and say James McCarthy and stuff like that, and all, and wouldn't really. I can't really think of anyone else. Really.
Another one we've got here on a similar type of question is, who's the best player that you've played alongside with at Accies?
I don't know, for my position, I'd probably say Temps is just unbelievable things and he can do, and he's had a good career. And when he first came to Hamilton, actually he played the reserves quite a few times before, and that was just when I started playing the reserves, and it was brilliant to watch and learn from, because he was the way his feet work and stuff like that. It's just brilliant for me personally. It was just a great player.
What are people like David Tillman and Brian Easton, obviously the kind of more experienced guys, what are they like with the likes of yourself, Andy Winters, etc., that the younger guys who are in the team, what are they like?
Yeah, both of them, Temps and Easton, are brilliant. They're both getting into coaching this year. I don't know if that's
public knowledge.
That is definitely, when he signed his contract, that was definitely mid knowledge. So
so they're both doing the coaching, and you can kind of see it, especially with Temps at the game at the weekend. He was right there next to us in the dugout. He was just shouting encouragement and stuff like that, and he's really good talking. Eastie, I'll he's brilliant as well. He honestly never slags you for anything, and even in training, he's so encouraging, and he's the best, the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He's so encouraging, and he doesn't treat you like you're young at all. It's in the changing room, it's part of it, and that's it. It's just they're both really down to earth guys as well with the career. They both had obviously Temp's been at Rangers and stuff, and these two down at Burnley. They both played at big teams, but they're still so down to earth, and it's really good people to have in the changing room.
Someone's asked as well, who's the worst player you've either played with or watched at?
I don't know anyone under the bush.
You could say somebody you watched growing up.
Aye, you don't need to have played with them. You don't need to have played with them.
Prob's AJ, man. Seen the from here.
I'll send this to him, man. I know he listens, by the way. I know he listens to this. Somebody's asked, who's the hardest opponent that you've came up against?
I don't know. There's a few. Obviously, the game at the start of the season, Greg Taylor, going forward, he's just honestly
relentless.
Like, they play so high, and it's just you're like sometimes you feel like you're playing like a second fullback.
Aye.
And for me, it's annoying because I can't really show my side of the game as much. But so defensively, I'd probably say probably him. I'm trying to think, the Aberdeen one, Max Lowe, was the one I made when I made my debut, and he was lightning when he was brilliant. And so yeah, maybe him. He was really good. He was strong and powerful, and that was when I made my debut. I was just kind of like, this is when I need to.
Aye.
And yeah, he was really good.
A lot of people say, a lot of footballers, when you listen to them speak, they say that when they make their debut, they kind of think they're at that level, and then they make their debut and they realise that there is still a kind of another level to go. I'm assuming, was that the case with you as well? When you came on, you realised there was still a big step to go?
Yeah. The first game with him, as I just said, he was so quick, and I was just like, oh jeez. I thought like I was pretty close, and he's kind of just showed that I've still got a long way to go. But yeah, you just need to, like, I don't know. The more you play, the more you get used to it. It's the same as anything. Like you learn new things off different people that maybe play in your position in different teams, and you learn how to play against certain people. Some people don't like if you're running behind, and the more you learn, the more you play, the more you get used to it. But at the same time, they'll do the same against you. Like, they'll know that after my first few games, I've won, and like probably know that I'm left-footed in that. So then it gets harder. Like probably the first game against Kelly didn't know I was left-footed, so that's why it helped me. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Just the more you get the experience, the more you get used to it, and the physicality of it, because it is a lot more physical, and it means a lot more to everyone than the reserve games. So
someone's asked as well, even if European football was involved and the money was significantly more, would you ever sign for Motherwell?
Oh, Motherwell? Nah.
Good answer. Correct answer. Correct.
I can't leave it this one, man.
I would like to jump back actually, and ask you about the European games, because you know, people might forget that you were involved in these European games. What was that kind of feeling like, where going in as massive underdogs, as kind of Hamilton are mostly? What was that like to play European games? You know, to play against teams from other countries abroad and all that as well.
It was a great experience. It was honestly it was new for everyone involved with the club. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of like the first time for everyone, and Marcus had just come in, and like it was such a big deal was made of it, and I think that helped us a lot, because we were just kind of like, this is a chance for us to shine even more than the usual chance you'd get in a youth team, because there was so much more focus on us, and it was brilliant going away with it, because obviously we went away a couple of times with the boys, but not that year. We went away a lot more, and it was great for bonding and stuff. I felt that team grew really close over the games, and the Basel game, the second leg at Hamilton, which was packing, was the first time all of us had played in front of fans really to that extent, and again that's probably up there, like obviously that was close to like the Rangers game in terms of my feelings towards it, because it was the first time that any of us had experienced something like that. It was the way we done it with the last minute goal, and the fact we were all such good mates and stuff. It was just a brilliant day.
But what about how much we ball bags the ball players?
Oh, mate. Listen, you might not be able to say it, man, but we can. My God, they were arseholes.
It was nice
to stick it to them
in the end.
Yeah. Honestly, they were unbelievable. Jump back to some fan questions. Somebody's asked, who's the fastest player in the squad? Who is rapid?
Oh, that's so easy. Justin Johnson is the quickest man I've ever met. He is rapid. Like his stats are unbelievable. When you look at the stats, his speed columns just way ahead of anyone. And the sports science says it would be like that even at like a Premier League team. Like, it's not like because we're slow. He's so quick, and so that's quite easy. He's so quick.
Honestly.
You can tell that. What game was it? He came on St Martin's.
St Mirren.
He's not getting the ball by a few players, and he's just it's unreal.
Honestly, it's lightning.
Somebody else has asked, who's your favourite English team?
English team, I like Liverpool. I'll probably. You're not happy with that?
That's shocking, man. That is shocking.
You like?
Man United. It's got to be.
Anyway. My dad always liked Liverpool growing up, so I just kind of fell into that. And,
I've got them on, so.
That's even more shocking, by the way. I can let loose off with Liverpool wearing their Tottenham shirts next layer. I didn't even know that. That's shocking.
There was a lot of scouts last year on the team, so that fit quite well, to be honest. So.
But you raging a wee bit that like Steve Davies and all that went down to watch Liverpool in the Champions League. Were you a wee bit like, how come I'm not invited there?
I never really asked. I'm sure that if I'd asked him, but I didn't want to be that guy that was like, please take me. So I didn't really expect to get paid anyway, so it didn't really bother me. But yeah,
that's a question then. Like, obviously, growing up and playing, being an Accies fan, growing up obviously loving football. Now the fact that you're playing professional football, and for instance, on Saturday you're going to be up against a team that's managed by Steven Gerrard. Is that is that surreal?
Yeah, honestly, like if you told me growing up that Steven Gerrard would probably know of me, then I'd be like, that's unbelievable. Like I'd fairly shocked. But the first time we played against him, it was when he was there. It was just like, oh my god, that's actually. I don't know. They get it's normal, like, and then at the end of the game, we'll say like, shake your hand, be like, well played or whatever. Just the 2 words, and you're like, oh my god. Then it just the first time, then it just becomes normal. Like, I don't know. You just put it aside and forget about it.
Somebody else has asked, who's the best finisher you've seen at the club?
Steve's a hard one. Steve Davis was really good actually. Yeah.
Like Steve.
I'm trying this year. But yeah, Andy's really good at finishing, man. See one-on-ones and stuff like that. He's brilliant. And then Regan, technically, like I'd say like anything about like 25 yards and stuff like that. He's got a great left foot, man. He's really good. He's really good finishing.
I think you're going to need to throw somebody under the bus here, man. Somebody's asked, who's the worst dressed?
Big Marcus he's I wouldn't say the worst. He's usually the most out there. Honestly, he comes in some very questionable gear. Like, nothing we've ever seen before.
I hope he's torturing him for these TikToks. They're outrageous.
Big Mark. I don't think. Oh no, I've seen it. Yeah, I saw them on his Instagram. I actually posted them there. I don't know. I think that's quite funny. But I remember I messaged him just that's hilarious. But I don't want to be 25 and be making TikToks, mate.
What are we talking clothes-wise? Are we talking like mad colours? Are we talking weird?
He just wears like cardigans and stuff like that. It's just kind of weird. Like it's not like bad. It's just different. Like it's probably the college in America and the Norwegian thing. It's just different, and it's everything else is kind of basic and boring. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's just like tracky bottoms and a t-shirt or something like that. and he comes in sometimes with like jeans and like flannel shirt and stuff like that, and then sometimes he'll wear shorts, flip flops, and a cardigan. It's just weird, but it's not. To be fair, actually, for him, it works quite well with his whole look. To be honest, he doesn't look bad. It's just out there. It's just different. The boys would probably say me, but to be fair, like, I had to get slaughtered sometimes. I used to get slaughtered all the time, man.
Hey, what were you in?
Just nothing. I don't know, just the same thing.
An Accies top. Wear an Accies top.
Just the same shoes and all that for ages, and then they thought, oh jeez, well you don't got them off. And just, like the usual rubbish pattern, man.
Is that what the dressing room is like? Can you all kind of get each other a bit of stick and all that?
Oh yeah, people look at say stuff to Marcus every time he does it, but it doesn't bother him. He'll keep wearing what he wants, and it doesn't. To be fair, the reserve team was a lot more brutal, to be honest. Honestly, the first things you'd do there, you'd get slaughtered for them, and then when you go up, because I don't know, it takes a wee bit of time, because obviously the first time I'm going up, they're not going to slaughter me straight away, so it takes a wee bit of time to get to that level, getting to know them, and then again they take no prisoners, and then but it's good like that. Everyone, it's just, I don't know, bonds everyone. It's not like it's anything takes it to heart.
Aye.
And the last question we've got here is, what's it like playing just now with the whole behind closed doors? How does that just how's that feeling, and are you just joking for fans to get back and that?
Yeah, basically that's it. It's just a bit rubbish. Like, it's not rubbish because you get playing football, so it's still good.
Aye.
It's just not the same. Like, obviously the game on Saturday we went mental when we scored anyway, and ran to the corner, but that'd be a corner that would be full of buzzing Hamilton, so it's just like just a wee bit sweet, because as much as we were overjoyed, it was one of those days that you'd want as well a late goal against the biggest rivals, so we're glad to ease a bit of enjoyment in your gaffs. But
I don't know if you remember, I can't really remember that much, but when you came back to the stadium, was at the stadium?
Yeah, no, I do remember. That was after we felt so bad, because they were told us like we can't come to you, so it was a bit like we should go up to you because you could just be there, and it was funny and it was brilliant, but at the same time we were told explicitly like we weren't allowed to, so it was a bit annoying. We just had that wave tease at our car, and it was a bit like, that was it, you know what I mean? It was a bit awkward, but it was like it was still nice to see that, and we all appreciated it a lot. We all loved it, so it was
Smashing. That brings us very nicely to the end of this special podcast. Lewis, thank you very much for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Right, thank you for having me on. It's been brilliant.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it, man. That brings us to the end of the OnlyAccies podcast this week. Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're on YouTube, you can always check it out on other platforms. We've got YouTube, Spotify, and of course Podbean as well. A huge thanks to Lewis Smith for joining us. It was a great guest, and best luck for the rest of the season, my man. And of course, thank you to Hamilton for allowing this to happen. Thank you very much for listening. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit like button down below. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and of course all our social media are linked in the description. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again.